This is how to make yogurt in an Instant Pot. First, you must have the yogurt button. That is what keeps the pot at 110 degrees, which is what makes the bacteria culture out the milk into yogurt. This is plain, unflavored, unsweetened Greek yogurt. I bought mine at Aldi. It contains all 5 live cultures. You want at least 2 live cultures, so make sure you check the ingredient list on your yogurt when you're buying it. This is 4 tablespoons, and that will culture out an entire gallon of milk. If you want to do a half gallon, then use 2 tablespoons. Here you see we have poured the entire gallon of milk. It's right at the max line. Can you see that right there? There's a max line that's built into the insert. And so we never fill up past that, and it holds exactly 1 gallon of milk. Now what we're going to do is we are going to hit the saute button right there, and it is going to bring this up to a boil. Now what we're going to do is we are going to bring it up to 180 degrees, and then we're going to take it off of the heat and let it naturally cool down to 110, or you can take your insert out very carefully and submerge it into an ice bath to cool down. And we're going to make sure that it comes down to 110 degrees, and then we're going to go to the next step. So just a note, this is a candy thermometer. You can use whatever kind of thermometer for food that you want. We are getting near 180. And as you can see, we're starting to get a little bit of a film cooking onto the top of the yogurt. That's supposed to happen. You can see how the bubbles are coming up and everything. So don't be freaked out by that. Also, a good thing to store your yogurt in when you're done are the containers that your original starting yogurt came in. So just give those a good wash, and they're excellent. And you say, so what do you do with all the other yogurt that comes in that big bucket? Well, I froze it into 4 tablespoon increments. You can do whatever increments you want, obviously. And I throw them all into a zip bag, and you want to just thaw them out in the refrigerator or on the countertop before you use them. And the good thing is that when you freeze it, it puts the bacteria that cultures out the yogurt kind of into hibernation. So when you thaw it out, it wakes the cultures back up, and you can reuse it, and they should be good in the freezer for about 6 months. Now if you want to go ahead and eat the rest of the yogurt that came in your starting bucket, that's fine too, because when this is done being turned into yogurt, as soon as it's finished and you've put it in containers for the refrigerator, simply take out 4 tablespoons worth and set it aside, throw it in the freezer for the next batch, and you'll be good to go that way too. So you don't have to store the entire large bucket of starter yogurt in the fridge, and it will only stay good for about 2 weeks, because by then your cultures will start to die off, and then you will not have enough in there for it to ferment into yogurt. So we're almost at 175. We want to get it up to 180. And then we are going to take the insert out of our Instant Pot using some hot gloves. I mean, I can touch it, but I don't think we need to risk it. And we are going to submerge it into an ice bath. So let me go get the ice bath ready. Okay, so now we have it submerged in the ice bath. And you can see, here's the thermometer. You can see where it got up to 180 degrees. You don't want to go much higher than that. And remember, when you're stirring this, it has cooked some milk onto the bottom of the pot, so do your best not to scrape the bottom of the pot. Now you can see the film right there. Okay, so what we're going to do is just skimming it off, and there we go. And that's just the film that cooked from I'll just shake it out. Now, you do want to sterilize your tools before you start doing all of this. You can sterilize them in the dishwasher. There's even a sterilized setting on your Instant Pot if you want to go that direction. And you want to make sure that it's consistent temperature, so you'll want to give it a bit of a stir from time to time. And our goal is to get this down to 110 degrees, so right there. And once it gets down there, then we're going to pull the insert out of the sink. We're going to dry the outside and the underneath really, really well, because we don't want to get that water that's on the outside onto the heating element of the Instant Pot. It can damage it. So we're going to let this sit for a while, give it a stir with the thermometer every now and then to make sure the hot and the cold are blended together, so you have it down to actually 110 degrees. If you don't get it down to the full 110 degrees, it can kill your bacteria in your bacteria cultures in your starter, and you'll just end up with a pot of hot milk in 8 hours. And if that happens, it's not the end of the world. You can just go ahead and dump more culture back into it, stir it up really well, and then let it cook for another 8 hours, and you'll have your yogurt. So don't freak out if it doesn't work and you accidentally kill your cultures. You can still save your gallon of milk. So we got just a little bit below 100 degrees, but not a big deal. We are still within the working area. So what we're going to do is we are going to take our glass measuring cup, and I use glass because I can sterilize the glass really easily, and I like to just scoop some out, be a little messy, and then we take our yogurt starter, which is right here. We're just going to put it in there. Let me put my camera down for just a second so I can scrape it. Okay, so now we've got the yogurt into the milk, and because it's below 110 degrees, it's not going to kill the starter. And the only reason I do this step is because it waters down the yogurt and makes it incorporate into the large pot a lot easier, so we don't end up with clumps, and we get the bacteria spread out nice and evenly. So make sure you get it stirred all the way. And we're just going to take it and pour it back in, like that. All right, and then we take our thermometer out, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir. Make sure that everything is done. Now, to bring it up to 180 probably took about 20 minutes. There is another function on your yogurt setting. If you push yogurt twice, it's supposed to bring it up to a boil. I have found that it does not work, or it barely works. You have to run it 2 cycles. It's much easier to use the saute function. So 20 to 30 minutes on the saute will bring it up to 180 degrees. And then the ice water bath probably took, I don't know, probably around 10 minutes to bring it down to temperature. Now, you don't want to get it too cold in the ice water bath. Find that 100 degrees is still okay, but you don't want to bring it down much further than that, because then it's going to have a hard time coming up to temperature. So now that we've got our yogurt culture and our milk has been scalded, everything's been mixed together, we are going to come over here. We are going to hit the yogurt function. I like to cook mine for 8 hours. You can cook it for longer. I have been told that longer makes tangier yogurt. If you like that little bit of sour to it, there's the pot coming on. And my dad tried it and he said it really didn't make much of a difference. So don't freak out if you can't get to your yogurt instantly. After the 8 hours, it will just continue to cook, because unlike the other functions, this one just cooks up. And I think it'll cook up to it's like 20 hours maybe, I'm not sure. So we're gonna throw our lid on and hear the magic sound. Now, I don't have my stem on. I need to get that really quick. See my dirty kitchen. All right, and now it doesn't matter if this is vented or not vented. It doesn't matter. You can leave it vented or not vented. It's not going to pressurize. The whole point of this is to keep it at 110 degrees so that it will culture out properly. So when this is done in 8 hours, we will go to the next step. Okay, so it said yogurt, but it's been turned off. And the way you want to check to make sure that your yogurt is done is you want to take your spoon and pull, and it's going to separate. It's not going to be like just pudding. It's going to, see how it makes that little bit of a wall there? That's how you know that it's cultured out. So now I'm going to come over here, and I have a stock pot, and I have a colander that just fits in my stock pot. It's old Rubbermaid colander. I have a piece of muslin that I have washed only with dish soap. It's never been washed through the washing machine for clothes. I wash it with dish soap, I hang it to dry, and I spread it over my bowl like that. Okay, and then I'm going to tuck the edges underneath. So let me get that tucked. Onto a plate, just in case it decides to soak into here and drip over. I like to be nice and neat. You can also get yogurt sieves that are made for straining specifically, and you can get them off of Amazon. So let me pour the yogurt into there and we'll start again. So we've poured the yogurt into the colander that's lined, and it's going to drip all the way, that's W-H-E-Y, down into here, and that's going to improve the texture, and it's going to thicken it up quite a bit. Now you can eat it like this. It's quite sour, and the thicker you make it, the closer it gets to sour cream. You can't really overstrain it. I've left it before for a day, and you can just incorporate the whey back in. I will show you that after it has strained for most of the day. Now, if you finish your yogurt in the Instant Pot around 10, 12 at night, you just want to go to bed, you can always just throw it in the insert into your fridge. I put a towel underneath it to protect my fridge, but you can put the insert in there, cover it up, come back the next morning and do this step. You don't have to do this immediately after the yogurt is done. Now, not all of my 1 gallon of yogurt will fit in there. So I have this, and then I have this, and I'm just going to close this up, put it into the fridge, and then when this is done, I will simply repeat the process. So now we have our yogurt that's been sitting in the refrigerator, straining through cloth and a colander into the pot for about 6.5 hours. Let's see how it looks. Ooh, look at all of that. It's missing a lot of moisture. So what we're going to do is we are going to take a mixing bowl. We're going to spoon this into the mixing bowl. We're going to hit it with a hand mixer. We're going to add a little whey into it because, as you can see, it's really stiff. And I like my yogurt smooth and creamy. So that's what we're going to do next. Now it is in the bowl. And if you like sour cream, you might want to hold some of this out because it is a perfect replacement for sour cream. It tastes pretty much exactly like sour cream, and it's the consistency of it if you've strained it enough. Now when you look in here, this liquid is the whey, and that's what we've taken out. Now don't add a lot back in at once because a little goes a long way. Ha 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 ha, I'm hilarious. Okay, so we've done that, and we're gonna hit it with the old hand mixer. If I can remember to plug the hand mixer in. consistency. All right, that looks like yogurt. Look at that. It's smooth and it's creamy and it's still really sour. So when you eat it, you're going to want to make sure that you add, you know, whatever fruit you like, sugar or sugar substitute like honey or stevia, whatever you like to use. And now it's time to put it into here. And we are going to take, remember that other half that we put back in the fridge? We're going to take our strainer, put it back over our pot, dump the other half back in here, and repeat this process. So now we have it in the containers. These are the large containers. They're usually, the cheapest I've seen them is like $3.75 at Aldi. I mean, they're like the big bucket. So I paid $2.50 for my gallon of whole milk, and I got 2 of these babies completely full. I mean, like full to the top. So there you go. And don't forget, if you're going to use this as your starter, don't forget to take out 4 tablespoons for your next gallon of milk to turn into more delicious yogurt.